Oh,
Fair enough.
All this has just got Ash foaming at the willy.
Foaming at the
That is what we
willy.
love on the Gollum's Gamers podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of the Gollum's Gamers podcast. So today we're going to be doing another event preview episode. It's going to be for the 550-point upcoming GBHL 100 event, the Guardians Call to the Shire. Now, we are joined today by a special guest and event TO, the Guardian himself, Mr. Dewi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Yourself?
Good. Yeah, we are doing well. So thank you for coming on.
That's right.
Dewi, as the prime TO that he is, has provided us with a load of statistics for the event. And, you know, those keen tournament goers in the UK are going to be looking forward to seeing the juicy statistics ahead of the event. So without further ado, we are going to get into the first stat we have here of the Alliance breakdown. Is that pie chart glitched for everyone else, or is it only me?
Yep.
it has glitched.
Looks a bit
It
sus.
totally
but
isn't like that in before I went in full screen. So anyway, but a lot of legendary legions, some yellow allies in there and stuff. But that's the Alliance breakdown. Any thoughts from that one?
I want to bet that 8 out of 8 of those convenient allies are Lake Town soup.
Yeah.
You are wrong.
Ah, no.
You are wrong. There is a contingent, but there is a mix of other things as well.
Interesting.
It's about the kind of thing I would expect. For a long time, when I had lists coming in, I didn't actually have any historical allies. It was kind of the last batch that came in that gave it all historicals.
Then Ireland started submitting their lists, and that's when,
It's interesting to see that Legendary Legions have just completely taken over the meta, which is quite fun.
At low points.
I guess only a plurality, but, you know, it's still interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't particularly see it as a problem, to be honest.
I like it.
Yeah.
Like, Legendary Legions allow people to play the game in a thematic way. Yes, some are stronger than others, but to me, I'd rather 100% Legendary Legions than convenient allies.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, no, true.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
I mean, I wonder if the historical are just all Serpent Horde Mordor.
very good question. We will get back to that.
I'll find out.
I've got all of them in front of me. So
Before we go any further, Dewi, I did want to give you the opportunity to shout out your various things that you get up to. Your Discord.
Oh God. Okay. So used to do YouTube stuff. Then life happened. I run my Instagram, which is Guardians of Wiltshire. Then I've done. This will be my second event I'm running this year. My third GBHL event. Yeah, third GBHL event. But I've run other events as well. Oh no, this will be my fourth one, sorry, because I've run one earlier in the year. So I'm running a 80, 100, and 90 this year. All in and around Chippenham, Wiltshire.
Yeah.
So, and then I've set up my kind of Guardians team, which is all guys pretty much based around here and guys I've gamed with for the last 6 years or so.
Arch nemesis of the Gollum's Gamers.
Absolutely.
As we battle for that.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it second place or third? Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. It's third.
First and second are already taken by the soup sweats.
Yeah.
But we can hope.
So yeah, and then
Store?
some interesting things is we've set up a gaming club which is due to start in August.
Do you remember seeing that? Yeah.
So various things. I do some 3D printing, which I know you all know about. And then we have our Discord. And then we have our Discord as well, which I don't know if any of you are in, but we chat. There's lots of people. There's 250 plus on it, and we chat regularly.
Yeah.
Evening and daytime, if people have got a little lull in work, just jump on the voice chat and see who's about.
Yeah. Well, I will chuck some links down in the description if anyone is interested.
Yeah, I'll grab you some.
Check out everything that he's involved with. But so we're going to move on from the Alliance breakdown to the faction breakdown. Now, this is the juicy stuff here.
Assault on Lothlorien.
So AOL
Ooh.
is the
so this is the factions, whether they are appear on any list.
Okay.
So this isn't 73 or whatever it is. If say Minas Tirith and Rohan are in a historical alliance, they'll get 1 for each.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Which is why Army of Lake Town is at 6.
So how many? Because I was thinking about what soup the army lists will be allied with in this tournament, and I didn't think. I thought there might be a one or two White Council, which there's one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there may be
Who from the White Council?
Saruman.
No.
Radagast.
Correct.
Okay, so I thought is Army Lake Town Green with Radagast Alliance or
No.
is it? So that's why Radagast on the Eagle was probably in that one. Which
funny fact, not allied with Army of Lake Town.
Oh wow.
Oh no, maybe. Is there one?
Surely.
There might be one. I can't remember. But yeah. But that's a Radagast Alliance ally. The White Council one is with Rivendell Knights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
It's your second Wrath in there.
Yeah.
We've got AOL at the top spot with 7 appearances. In second place is Army of Lake Town, as we said. And then in joint third, we have Minas Tirith.
So let's do a quick discussion then. How strong do we think AOL is at 550? And do we think it's the most likely list to take the 100 points at this event?
Sam, I played against you. Was that 550?
It was totally exactly 550. Yeah.
So I've seen your version of this list at least.
So, in my view, they don't get the horde that they normally would compared to other armies.
Agreed.
They're between 36 and 45 models for those armies.
Which
so
in the model breakdown.
So like they're good, but I don't know how good they'll be. There's an interesting thing. I think it's the heroes next, Elliot. I can't remember.
Yes.
So yeah, it'll be interesting when we come to the heroes to see what they'll be like. But they can be good. Some have got 2 bats, some have got 1, some have got 2 spiders. There's one with a Balrog chieftain, but they're not outnumbering armies as much as they normally would.
I was hoping that I would get agreement. I don't think it is necessarily the super overpowered list that everyone seems to think that it is, especially at 550.
It's really not. It's still goblin shooting at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, if your opponent gets lucky, then they do kill a lot of stuff. But at the same time, if they don't, which is more likely that they don't get lucky because obviously they're hitting on 5s and 6s, then you just walk into it and it dies.
So I think not people are playing it wrong. I think people are over reliant on the shooting.
Okay,
people
controversial.
Played, they are over reliant on the shooting. For example, in scenarios such as capture and control, breakthrough, etc., they try and sit back and get a turn of shooting in.
And then they've already lost because you've jumped on all the objectives.
Why? You break your opponent and the game could end. Like, I don't think it's not wise, but I don't think that's the best way to play that scenario with that army.
I think a lot of why we might be seeing it so many times at 550, I think maybe people are going, oh, it's a low point event. Oh, AOL is like one of the strong meta armies at the moment. Let's just take that and try get loads of models. It should be really good. When, you know, how it actually plays out, like you said, in comparison to other armies, it doesn't actually have that big a horde at 550. And then, so I think that's maybe a trap some people have maybe fallen into with it.
I guess the lower the points that you're playing, the more prevalent that shooting is and the more powerful that luck with shooting is for your army, as you don't have so many models and don't have so many tools. So if a player with AOL does get that luck, does kill a significant amount of the enemy, then that's when it starts to become powerful. But
it's just doing it over 6 games.
Well, 7 with Dewi.
I totally forgot this was a 7.
Yeah. So especially with the implementation of the 7 games, I would be surprised to see it podium.
I think I would say I agree, but again, I took this to a 4-game one and did well with it, but at 550, and I had 43 models in my list, and I found that I was outnumbering people usually between 7 and 10 models every game. And I guess it is a case of if you're fighting against even D5, D6, and they just march towards you and don't lose that many, you are going to have a harsher time. And I agree that going the horde route is the best.
It was like our game. It was like our game recently at 500, where your shooting just didn't have much impact. You know, and then it's tough for you from there. You still won, but yeah.
I think it's an interesting one. I feel like if everything goes, like you'll definitely get scenarios where you want to use your shooting, but then it does hinder you. Like Dewi said, if you play capture and control, domination, there's a really fine line as to where you need to stop shooting and actually go forward. Finding that line can be quite difficult against certain armies. I'm surprised there's 7 of them, to be honest with you.
We should say this is a 74-man event, so
yeah, I guess
there's a lot of lists, and also like
but it's just under 10%. What, like 8-9% of the field is all AOL?
Yeah,
it's quite a lot.
I don't know. I'm intrigued. I could totally see one podiuming, to be fair, but
I guess with that many, the likelihood does get higher.
Yeah.
And who's taking it as well. Another kind of takeaway, I mean, so at number 5 was Minas Tirith and Mordor. Then down at 4, we have Serpent Horde for Suladan and obvious reasons, and then Halls of Thranduil. And I looked at that and I thought, is that just Mirkwood Rangers? But it's not, because that's on the chart. So is Halls of Thranduil
silly Samuel?
Is
where's
the core at 550?
That totally is.
Is Halls of Thranduil any good? I don't know.
So, or is it allied into Lake Town?
If you move on to the heroes,
that counts. I see.
If you move on to the heroes,
definitely move on to the heroes.
Legolas, Prince of Mirkwood, has 6.
And there's only all of the
Legolas Greenleaf as well.
Yeah. So this is soup into allied.
So there's 2 Mirkwood Rangers lists, and
shout out to our man James
and the rest.
Who will be?
He came in.
Has he just joined?
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Amazing.
And the rest are allied into Lake Town from memory.
Yeah.
With various guises, like there's one with Thorin, one just Legolas and dudes, one's got Dwalin.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff.
That's intriguing.
So at the top spots here, at 7 appearances, we have the Witch King, Theoden, and Alfred.
Sam's favourite hero.
Alfredo. Then at 6, we have Leggy, like we said, and the Master of Lake Town. How boring. Followed by Braga.
Shock.
At number 5. And then at 4, we have Suladan, Emperor, Lurtz, and then moving down from there, a spattering of other heroes. Any takeaways from that? A lot of Witch Kings, which is probably not much of a surprise.
Are there any Angmar lists, or all those Witch Kings with Mordor?
There's 2 seconds. There are 2.
2 Angmar.
2 Angmar.
Okay, so the Witch King is kind of an auto pick with Angmar, and nearly an auto pick with Mordor, right?
There was 5 Mordor, so 5 Mordor plus 2 means every Mordor and Angmar list has taken the Witch King.
The ability to build him differently is his biggest strength.
Yeah. I was surprised. Something I just took away from the previous slide and here as well, which I'm surprised there's only 2 Arnor. I thought Arnor would be a little bit more prevalent because
considering it won your event last year, am I correct with that, Dewi?
It did,
correct.
Actually, yeah.
I'm surprised it's not there.
So
we will actually be taking a look at both of the Arnor lists in a little while.
So the issue is models are out of production.
Yeah.
And also people don't know about TOs and 3D printed stuff.
True. I was going to say, it could just buy the whole army off you, and it'll be sorted. But
Yeah,
I guess
like
it is just rarity.
I'm Patreon to 4 or 5
Mm.
terrain and miniature people, and I'm more than happy for people to use 3D printed stuff, providing they fit my aesthetic of Middle Earth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And most of the ones that I'm subscribed to do it. So I don't mind. I know one of the Arnors is genuine and one is a conversion.
Got ya.
See. So
Impressive from them.
That's the breakdown of the popular heroes. So people going to the event.
I'm surprised at the number of Legolasses.
Yeah, me too.
But
we've suddenly gone all French.
Yeah.
150 is a really awkward point for the Lake Town ally, I think, because
Sam, you've gone very quiet again, like I was saying earlier, for whatever reason.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I found that for what I saw, 550 is a bit of an awkward one for Lake Town ally because you can't really get Gwai here in and feel too comfortable because the points don't really work, and then you can't really get Blinding Light in either unless you take Galadriel on her own or with 5-6 elves, which then you don't have any hitting power. So I'm not surprised that Legolas has been chosen as still a fight 6 hero that you can go in and strike with, as well as a shooter.
Yeah. So people talk about the 350 point Lake Town engine.
Yeah.
Which then you've got 200 points, which isn't a really good thing for like a hitter.
Yeah.
Also, Legolas in Lake Town versus Lake Town is the best pick because you kill the Master or you kill Alfred, your Lake Town outfights theirs if they don't have a Legolas.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not sure if you said this because I just went to get a beer, but as we said about the shooting meta, Legolas is the best shooting hero in the game, and if you do well with him, then his points are worth more potentially at 550 if he can do that much damage.
Yeah, like I said, some of the lists have a hitter as well, so a Thorin or a Dwalin.
Yeah.
One is pure Lake Town and Legolas with some boys like some Cav, a Banner, that kind of thing. So
I like the
implementation. And then there's 2 Mirkwood Rangers lists.
Sorry, Dewi.
That's right.
I like the implementation of that Cav with the Lake Town because then you get Fight 5 Cav, which are very strong to grab objectives and stuff. So I would be interested to see what lists have taken the Lake Town engine, which I think is quite a good phrase actually. And Legolas with some Cav.
Yeah. So people going to the event, these are the types of heroes that you can expect to come up against most likely in at least one of your games over the 7 that you'll be playing. Moving on, we have a model count.
Oh, look at this for a chart.
Such data.
So the average model count for the event is 33 models, which I am under, unfortunately.
It's lower than I thought it would be.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that less? I mean, obviously we won't know, but I almost have an inkling that that's less than Into the West.
No way, that's 100 less.
No.
Yeah, I doubt it.
But the
That's
thing
a
is,
bit,
when you go up in points, though, you're more likely to pay extra points to upgrade that hero to.
Yeah, but it's only 100 points.
Yeah.
I think fundamentally, you need to get as close as you can to 35 to 40 models before you start upgrading them.
Yeah.
Because of the size of a board is a 4x4. So once you get above that, so if you look at like 800 to 1,000 point games, there's almost no point taking over 50 models because it's not required. It's much more valuable taking higher quality troops. This is why I believe elves really excel as soon as you exceed that sort of threshold, about 650, 700.
So the other thing that I noticed from talking to a lot of people is and I don't know what you guys or like feel about this, but they said 550 is really awkward because you have to pick between 2 or 3 heroes, and therefore your model count generally suffers. But yeah, I was expecting it to be more in the 36 mark, the average model count. But we do range from 70 all the way down to 6. So
I think we all know who brought 70.
So I mean, we've also got a lot of lists. So we have 6 lists around like the 40. I guess they're the AOLs, like in this region of the chart.
So yeah, kind of. So from memory, Goblin Town, Shire with Guahir. 48 is Army of Lake Town with Legolas and Pure Shire. 46. Oh, very good question. 46, I can't remember. 45, one of them is a survivors list. 46 models is Army of Lake Town and Thorin's Company. And yeah, your AOLs are between the 45 and 40. There's one at 36, but yeah, generally that middle mark. But then around the 40 mark, you've also got Arnor. You've got the Arnor Khazad Alliance is 40.
Yeah, there's also a lot in this, like 36, 37. There's like 9 lists there. So like upper echelon of the 30 sort of range. So I'm on 31, for example. So I'm well under quite a lot of lists. Yeah,
there's a Lurtz's Scout, Serpent Horde, Minas Tirith, Dark Powers, and Azog's Hunters Alliance, all in the 40.
Unarmed in the 40s as well.
You're
42.
Dewi, can you just say that again?
Let's go.
So for 40 models, there is an AOL, a Pure Serpent Horde, a Lurtz's Scouts, a Pure Minas Tirith, an Azog's Hunters Dark Powers Alliance, and the Khazad-dûm Arnor Alliance. There's 40.
So yeah, Khazad-dûm Arnor, that's really piqued my interest.
Yeah.
That is something we may be having a little look at in a while, Adam.
Ooh.
Yeah. So any final takeaways from the chart before we move on?
I'm not really too surprised, to be honest with you.
Just makes me more excited to play. I just want to see the different variety. I like there's so many lists, there's so many players. I just can't wait to see what everyone's brought. And
this is when you've got that many, stats are just really interesting to go through.
They just make it so much more like they just build the hype, don't they?
What's the 6 model list?
Fellowship.
Which one?
Breaking.
Correct.
Oh,
fair enough.
All this has just got Ash foaming at the willy.
That is what we love on the Gollum's Gamers podcast.
That is a horrific statement. Foaming.
That is disgusting. Okay, so that is going to do it for the model count statistics. We're going to move on to some bow statistics.
Oh,
very telling, I would say. So the average bow count is 9 bows.
19 have no bows.
Correct.
That's pretty.
And 19 have no bows. 0.
Interesting.
So like one person down here went, yeah, I want a honesty bow, but literally one.
Yeah.
Guess which list that is.
Breaking.
Correct.
Yes.
So
Let's go. I like this. This is part of the quiz. You should have this for the quiz at the end.
Continue, Sam.
Me or Elliot?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, I totally was, but if you read my mind. I'm guessing the 26 is going to be the 2 top ones are going to be America Rangers, I imagine.
No.
So 28 is right, or is that?
No.
James has 26 bows, but 28 shots.
Oh yeah.
Is that a thing?
Honestly, it's the Rangers, but
Shire, yeah.
So 28 is Rangers of Ithilien.
Yeah.
Ah.
The Ranger of Ithilien. What's 20? Oh, I guess there's more than one Mercury Rangers. So I'm guessing 25 is also Mercury Rangers. 16.
Oh, very good question.
That's probably Shire.
Like
if they've got
Azog's Hunters can have that many.
It's probably pure Serpent Horde, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, pure Serpent Horde can have
Azog's
that.
Hunters has that many at 550 easily. That's not even
so 16 you have Lake Town.
Ooh.
Is this including heroes, by the way?
Yes, it includes heroes.
But yeah.
It's Lake Town and the Azog's Hunters Dark Powers list, which I think I may have calculated wrong. 6, 12, 15. No, it is that. So yeah, it's like 16. I think it's 16.
Yeah.
And then you've got a Shire list at 15, another Lake Town list at 15. Sam, you're at 15.
Yeah.
And then you get some AOLs at 14, Lurtz's Scouts at 14, and Pure Isengard list at 14. And they're all crossbows.
Yuck.
So there are
Pretty savage.
there are 25
No, there's Lurtz as well, but yeah.
There are 25 lists with between 11 and 16 bows. So that is what, like a third of the event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost bang on.
11 and 16 bows. So if you've bought no bows, I don't know.
So I would say most of those no bow armies are, well, not most, to a Goblin Town. And then you have like your Mordors with your Black Numenorian Morans. And then you have
You're not taking trackers.
4 Emperors.
Emperor at 550 is also interesting.
There's 4 Emperor lists.
Yeah, I used Emperor at 550 against Sam. It's okay.
So yeah, so like most of the no bow armies are high defense.
Yeah.
Or absolute spam.
Still think you take some, but
yeah, but with like Goblin Town or like when you've got Mordor with Black Numenorians Moranons, you're like, cool, I'm just gonna walk at you. Like,
hope you don't die.
Yeah.
Trackers are OP.
The other thing that I do wonder how far people scrolled down the rules pack. Did any of you look at the terrain examples at the end of the rules pack?
I've read it for a while.
I saw the Goblin Town board. But I know it's. I thought there was quite a lot of terrain, or am I imagining that?
No, you are correct.
Yeah.
So I do wonder.
That's what we love to see.
Yeah. So I do wonder how it'll be interesting to see how well these super heavy shooty armies do.
James out here absolutely trembling right now.
Especially
this does
when
not seem good.
especially when
Oh dear.
like I don't put walls. There's not many walls in many of my boards. They're more like my Harrodran town board has got like 12 buildings.
Oh, lovely.
So trying to watch people navigate the terrain if they have lots of bows will be interesting.
I'm feeling less confident.
I wish I brought Pitts down.
Yeah, with the Arbalisters. Yeah, Dewi, it's nice to hear that you listen to the words of the Gollum's gamers, specifically Ad.
I was doing this way before you boys came.
I probably didn't pay any attention. It's like a nice board.
I've been building boards for this event for the last 6 months.
I've been in his dungeon and I can confirm that it is basically full of terrain and other objects which we shall not mention, as this is a PG podcast.
Yeah. Ash's dignity's in there somewhere.
Lurking in the corner.
The smelly champion. What can we say?
Yeah.
Indeed. So any other takeaways from the bow count for the event?
Interesting to see how... Sorry, Sam.
No, you go, mister.
I was just going to say interesting to see how Rangers of Ithilien do with 28 bows.
And lots of terrain. I think that's an interesting point to add on there.
They are 32 models. So there's Banner, the Hobbits as well. So like plenty of might. They've got March. They've got all the bows. And
Frodo can catch you out as well with a Faramir charging Frodo combo, sort of.
And
with the ring on.
A heroic combating Sam.
Free heroic combating Sam.
I still think it's solid.
Yeah.
You'll have to see it because you haven't seen it. I haven't seen that list in ages.
No, you don't really see it nowadays.
2 years ago was the last time I think I saw it.
Yeah.
I would like to listen to a bat rep if, for example, James of Mirkwood Rangers played Rangers of Ithilien. I think that would be quite interesting.
I was thinking about this the other day.
Yeah.
And if they're both stood shooting at each other, I would probably put my money on the Rangers of Ithilien.
Even with a Legolas.
Heroic shoots. for absolute days.
They just eventually outmight them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Bearing in mind they're both winning each other on 5s, hitting on 3s. Weight of numbers.
But with your suggestion of, well, not suggestion, with the fact that there's going to be lots of terrain, Rangers of Mirkwood could get their Stalk Unseen Elven Cloak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come into effect.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then also the saves as well with the trees, if there are trees about.
If you've got a master gamer like James, he will make use of that terrain.
So there's a lot of terrain, but there's not very many woods at all.
Oh, that's rubbish.
Boom.
You got some elf hatred going on here too.
No,
This has been an
just
awful
go
5
Hatred.
minutes of news for James Goble.
Yeah.
It's just gone from bad to worse.
You're very quiet from the bottom.
And none of it has been good news.
I'm not ecstatic from it either, but I mean, it's better than what James has got. To be fair, it's okay.
We'll get onto your list later. I'm intrigued about yours, Grant.
Yes. So Sam, did you had a point that you were going to make before we move on?
Oh, I was going to say I could totally only the top 3 lists. I reckon I get outshot from the others. They're going to get absolutely railed, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Until your Corsairs run away.
Why are you giving away my list, huh?
We are going to get onto the lists. So let's move on now. The next section, we are going to be going over the big wigs of the event. as titled by
wigs.
Mr. Dewi himself. This was not my doing.
The big wigs.
I like it. I like it.
So in this section, we are going to be running over briefly a few lists from some of the players going to the event, which may be in with quite a good shot of
Basically, the top 4 currently of the GBHL, I think.
100 points. Yes. So first off, we have Farmer's List. So he is running Witch King, Gothmog, Black Numbspan with Morannons.
Hugely
Rider.
interested in this one.
I did actually talk to him about this. I was like,
So he's had a very big meta read. Very big meta read.
He thinks
He's
there's
on-
going to be a lot of
Lake Town.
men, right? Lake Town.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's at 32 models,
typical.
9 bow shots, and the rest are D6.
Yeah.
Cool. Like,
For 550, it's pretty.
Lake Town doesn't charge you. And then,
when they do, they die really quick.
yeah, exactly.
Gothmog has March as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's good.
Master of Battle just instantly.
That's the other thing with Lake Town when they got loads of might. You just go, cool, I've got Gothmog.
Yeah.
So
Braga's moving for free. Guess what? So is Gothmog.
yeah. So it doesn't like when his list came in, it surprised me a little bit. But when you actually think about it, and I talk to Farmer a lot, like this doesn't surprise me with the choice he's made.
So all the spit sports will get the +1 to wound when you call Time of the Orc, but the Black Numbs won't.
No. They get +1 to wound when they're within 3 inches of Gothmog.
Oh, sorry, the reroll, whether
Yeah.
it's
And then Time of the Orc he can call as well once again.
yeah. So that's
'Cause
good.
that-
So the reroll is the Time of the Orc. and
Yeah,
that's
yeah. So you
once
get-
per game.
Yeah. So you get the reroll for the spear sports and then not your numbs.
No.
It makes sense to be honest with you.
The Morannons near Gothmog are wounding Lake Town on 3.
Yeah. And they'll be the same fight value because Black Numenorians.
Yeah, that's a pretty good list. I like it a lot.
Or better if you like transfix the master, you can't do his rule. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So you're potentially out fighting, winning. on
And
foot.
and also the Witch King can take Will off the master, so therefore Braga can not do his free heroics.
And take Will off Alfred if
So
someone's
Farmer
silly enough
may
to let
potentially-
that happen.
Yeah.
Farmer may potentially be very happy looking at the faction breakdown section of this episode then and seeing that there are so many Alfreds.
Yep.
Also interested to see that he's gone for the 2 fate on the Witch King as opposed to a 3.
Which he does. I spoke to him about that before, and he was saying that if you use the Witch King correctly, you can get away.
Ooh.
So yeah.
Personally, I'm in Farmer's Court. I would much rather the extra will than an extra fate. If your Witch King's having to roll more than 1 fate, you're probably in a fair bit of trouble anyway.
Yeah,
Difference
maybe.
between living and dying, though. and I would rather rejiggle the list and, maybe turn a black num into a tracker or something and move other things around and just have the maximum security.
I think it's just more about luck.
Leader.
Like if you roll 2 1s, you're screwed. But
You'd rather have the third go.
having the third dice, especially when you've got someone like James who gets very lucky and just destroys Ringwraiths through 10 in the ways. I mean, yeah, Farmer's probably a good enough player for that to never actually happen.
So I think if you're chucking your Witch King into a risky place, you've probably played it a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
If you're being shot at, then yeah, you'd probably want 3 fate. But how many times you're going to have that over the course of a tournament? I'd rather have an extra will.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I see it both ways. But that's Farmer's list. Next up, we have Jakob using Pits for, I believe, the second event in a row.
Correct. He won a 550.
Was that at 550 as well?
Yeah.
Okay. And he won the event?
Yes. Boredom Grum, Slaughter in the South.
We're going from 90 to 100. He obviously liked it. I wonder if this is the same list. I think it's been...
I assume so. I have no idea.
I remember seeing it had 2 fell walks in the previous one, and it's
and one with a pick as well. So
yeah, I think it's the same.
Yeah,
I can find out because I've got the returns form, and hopefully.
So Hunter Captain on foot, really solid.
Sorry, Elliot. Did we say this is Pits or just?
Yes.
It is Pits. Okay.
Yeah. So I wonder how because obviously at the last event, I assume that was 4 games because it was a 1 day.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how he did with. Obviously, Jakob's a really, really good player. I just wonder how he did with matchups and scenarios. Because obviously, to win the 90 at 4 games, to win the 100 at 7, you've got to really hope that you can maximize Azog, obviously, over all those games and not run into.
It was veto as well.
Okay, that kind of changes things.
It is exactly the same list, just for a heads up.
Ash.
I think it's not. I think this could be quite fun. It's definitely likely that these two will play each other in round 6 or 7. How do we think that their lists compare if they were going to play in a head-to-head matchup for the 100 points, say game 7?
Okay, so I've played Pits a fair amount at the turn of the year, and 550 is its peak because beyond that, you encounter too much magic.
Okay.
And magic shuts down Azog, even though he has the resistance and he has the will from the White Warg. I actually think in this direct matchup, Farmer wins it because he's got a Terror front line with the -1. There's no... Am I right in thinking there's no horn? No, he's going for a banner instead of a horn.
I would swap the banner for a horn personally any day because you've got so many dice anyway. And you fight 3, I just think the horn is so invaluable for a courage 2 list. If you face a Wraith, you're courage 1. So yes, you're only going up to courage 2, but in scenarios like Command the Battlefield where models run away, you can lose half your army in a turn, and it's game over.
It's a really fun list though.
I do think Farmer wins in a matchup though.
I do agree.
Yeah.
Like 4 as well.
Also, the trackers are wounding on 5s with the shooting. It's got 9 shots. He'll pick off a few before combat. Obviously, scenario dependent. Witch King, even if he only shuts down Azog for a couple turns, it's enough with Gothmog.
So Jakob has no shots.
I thought that as well. Yeah, no bows.
Yeah. And yes, they hit on 5s, but you should still take I should take 2 in each warband. It's you still have Hunter Orcs that if you don't want to use the bows, well then they're still Hunter Orcs.
Still Hunter Orcs, yeah.
But to put them on objectives or whatever is really good with bows.
No, just interested to hear your guys' thoughts. That's all.
Yeah.
So one thing that I found interesting, and I played Pits in the week. Having a D6 frontline when you can control priority for a turn is actually very, very good. Because you can march up and then go, cool, I'm stealing priority. And your Hunter Orcs that are hiding behind your D6 can just go around to the front and then you can chuck spears in.
Exactly.
It's actually really, really strong. I've run Pits with pure Hunter Orcs before, just for some fun, and it was decent. But yeah, the Defense 6 is definitely worthwhile.
Yeah.
Because then you can rearrange them to have spears as well. And the beauty is, like you just said, Dewi, if you can guarantee a self-priority next turn, it means you don't even have to move your heroes first.
Yeah.
That is super powerful.
I do wonder the sorts of situations that Jakob was finding himself using the auto priority in. Like, is he holding it for a big Azog play, or is he using it quite early to ensure he gets good return? Because towards the end of the game, it could be too late by that point, and then that really big opportunity, doesn't arise, and then you could have used it earlier on. I wonder where he's getting the value out of it.
I think you like to use it. Say you've lost priority, and then you call a march before the engage. The following turn is when you use it, because that enables you to hard hit one flank.
I
like that, yeah.
Because you've effectively got 15 inches that you can use.
Yeah. When you lose priority.
Yeah.
I guess Jakob needs
list.
to hope he doesn't face against the Rangers of Mirkwood.
And with a lot of terrain, this is actually an amazing list because of the foul site and low defense.
Maybe he has read the pack and he's thought, I can just hide my low defense until I, get up. But actually, I was saying about the banner and the horn. I mean, he's taken the banner for the VPs as well. There is also that, and you do still get a banner, which is good.
I would personally take the banner pretty much every time over the horn.
I think the likelihood of you encountering terror. I mean, I know you said about running on, for example, Command the Battlefield, but really the horn gets its points back because it is more expensive than the banner.
Yeah.
Only when you face terror. So
I would rather have more dice to win the fight than I would the courage buff, because you're not always going to play terror. And if you play this right, you can decimate your opponent before you break, if you break at all.
Yeah, that's what I was going to follow up with. With 4 dice with the banner, you can then have a higher chance of not breaking and breaking your opponent, which means you're almost playing on the offense, trying to break them and not breaking, as opposed to playing on the defense, which is I've got an additional +1 courage when I break.
Makes sense. The only thing is that if you do put it down to the banner and hoping that you break them first, if you don't do that, it's then a lot more likely that you do lose because you don't have the courage. But I understand the whole, you're trying to break them and not be broken, and the banner helps you do that.
It's definitely a cyclical argument.
Banner VPs as well. So
you need an aggressive play style with this list, and I feel like if you don't go for that aggressive play style, you're missing the mark with the list entirely.
Go all in.
It either wins big or loses big.
Yeah. So that is Farmer and Jakob's list, and next up we have Ed Ball with Mirkwood Rangers.
That is nervous.
After I beat him at war, he's turned to my side.
Let's go!
With 3 Sentinels, though, which I found interesting.
It's just classic. Ed wants to be able to control the opponent, and with 3 Sentinels, you're going to have a very good time doing that.
Insane. Stunned.
Ed likes control armies. This is for bows. They control, like Asher said, Sentinels control. Legolas controls with where you put your heroes.
Yeah.
Like, without it being I can affect your army, it is I can affect your army.
Yeah. With a shit ton of bows as well. But I wonder if he's read the pack, because maybe he didn't see about the terrain.
So this is the thing. Either Mirkwood Ranger list could easily get screwed over with the terrain and a matchup. Yeah. If you play capture and control or breakthrough, and your opponent can get into you within 2 turns, you die very, very quickly, because a good player will not chuck more than 1 body at 1 Mirkwood Ranger.
It's like me and James had that game literally 2 days ago. That exact capture control vibe. I mean, it was way closer because of the game's lasted fucking ages, but it was I'm intrigued.
Did you use loads of terrain to simulate the conditions at Dewi's event?
It's
a fair amount, to be fair.
Yeah. But and we gave James forests, and he still managed to lose both games that evening.
Yeah. Was it
I don't think I rolled higher than a 2 in our game, Ash. So
yeah.
So
Mine
no, the
does
range-
count. Do we think that Ed has taken Mercs and Rangers because Black Riders doesn't work at this points level?
I don't know what you get for Black Riders if you take it at this point level, to be honest. I don't know.
That was an open question. I don't know
I
either.
don't know what rate configuration you get and how many models you get.
You'd probably get 5 or 6 off the top of my head.
Because what's the amount you need to get the -3 in the Harbinger?
7.
7.
I don't think you'd get 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be why.
Yeah.
Michael Rangers at low points is really, really strong. So, and he can still control, what you say. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. But that's Ed's list. And now we have Jake Rawson's Arnold list, which has won an 100 recently. Adam, I believe you played him with this exact list.
Yeah, I played him twice.
Yeah.
This list is my favourite out of the top 4.
And it won last year as well at Dewi's event.
Yes.
I assume Cobley had a similar sort of configuration.
Yeah, Clubby had about 40 models. This has got 41.
I don't think there's much you can change about Arnold, realistically, is there? I mean,
No.
it's Arbor Dewi, it's Malbeth, it's Captain, it's loads of bows, it's got a banner, and that's it.
The only thing is, if it comes up against one of the Witch King lists and Arbor Dewi gets dealt with,
Yes.
that's when it may be a problem.
41 Fight 4 models, though. I mean,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and Fearless and Arbor Dewi, the width around him.
Yeah.
You can just hide Arbor Dewi.
Yeah.
It's more the Malbeth, isn't it, I guess?
Okay, so Malbeth gets transfixed and therefore he can't give a save. Doesn't matter, he's still got, what's he got, 40 models?
41.
They'll slowly grind through. They'll defend 6, 5, 4.
How many bows in this list? 7, 6, 13, 13?
Yeah, something like that.
Warrior of Arnold with Flail. Have we already spoke about that?
So he's got 3 points left over. All the Rangers have got spears. Use the points. It's
Flail
exactly
is
the
funny.
same list he ran to come second at the 90-pointer Jakob one.
Yeah.
You've got 2 flails. Ooh, don't sell him short.
Oh yeah, sorry.
And
Pretty
one
nervous.
Good work.
What
Going
does a
back to-
Flail do?
It does well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, well.
just
Yeah.
fight one, hit everyone in the combat.
Yeah.
Pretty
The
strong.
worst.
Bit of
Going
fun.
back to Black Riders, you could get 7, but they'd be like 1-7-1.
Yeah, that stinks.
So you'd probably get 6 with some extra stuff.
Yeah,
So we think that Ed's not taking it simply because it doesn't work at that points level.
probably.
Which is fair.
It doesn't win you tournaments, is the honest answer.
Okay.
Black Riders is a 4 and 2 list in my mind.
Well,
Especially
when we
shooting.
tried to rank it, I did,
We
not
put
agree it was in lemon, but I was
Yeah,
overruled.
Of Legendary Legions, though, that wasn't just of, this and their ability to perform at events overall in the game.
True.
But that is the last of our big wig lists. We are going to move on now to some interesting lists.
Ooh.
So the first one that we do have here is the one that Adam, you were speaking about earlier, the Khazad-dûm with Arnor and the Shire. So we have a
No,
Dwarf
just
King.
Arnold.
Oh, sorry, of course, yeah, the Hobbits, of course. Sorry, I'm tripping. So we have a Dwarf King with a banner, 14 Khazad Guard, Arbor Dewi with 9 Warriors of Arnor, 4 Hobbit bows, and then a captain with 5 Warriors of Arnor and 4 Hobbit bows. So how many models is that?
40.
40, yeah, 40.
40, mainly D6, D7. Yeah. It's Khazad backed up by Arnold. Have fun cracking that.
Pretty
One
scary.
count, D7 at the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fight 6 hero.
Is it the what's the difference between Khazad and Hearthguard again for our viewers?
Hearthguard can go 2-handed with no penalty because they have Burley.
But are they strength 4 naturally?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it's still
Khazad
strong.
Strength 4 D7.
Yeah.
And they got Bodyguard as well.
Yeah.
Really good.
There's 14 of them, which is pretty
Yeah.
good.
So it's pretty solid. Like, I think this is obviously the Hobbit archers flush out the numbers and give you some bows, and they can sit at the back, and they've got throw stones.
They feel like a tracker role.
Yeah.
pretty much.
And their courage is also good as well.
I mean, you got to love the throw stones comment because you're never doing it.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Level of lols. And then you've got, a dwarf front line with Arnold behind. Two
Ash is quaking at this list. I love it.
This list is terrifying for
Yeah,
me.
I'm not gonna lie, it's actually pretty scary.
This list into Rangers of Mirkwood, I think, is very good.
But
Yeah.
into my list or Ash's list is very good.
Yeah.
I would rather play just Jake's regular Arnold than this. 1000%.
It's because of the D7, I think, isn't it? I mean,
D7 and also Bodyguard.
yeah.
D7 Bodyguard, strength 4. Cool. I'm wounding your Black Numenorians on 5.
The Hobbits also outshoot my trackers. So
Everything is crumbling for Ash.
right, let's hope we don't play.
Also,
that gentleman.
this army is spectacular.
Louis always has really nice painted armies, doesn't he?
Louis
You know
is.
what? I played
phenomenal.
Louis at your event last year, I believe. It's just clicked.
He
He
didn't
had
come
really
to my
nice
event
painted
last
like
year.
Rivendell stuff.
He didn't come to my event last year.
I totally missed what you just said. You say you didn't go to the event?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh,
Louis, he had really
was-
nice painted stuff at your event.
He's coming over from Belgium with 2 of the other Belgians. He's a good mate I talk to on Discord weekly, nearly daily. And he came to Warfare and went to the WTC and Michael Bradford's event last year.
so in the Belgian SBG scene, is he a top tier player?
I would say he's one of the better ones from my understanding. He's also bringing Alexis over, who won in Ireland last year.
I think he
and
won
won the
Imps as
GBHL
well,
100.
didn't he?
He
last year?
came second in him.
yeah.
Yeah. Has he used this list before? Do you know at all? Has he had to...
No, he's only recently finished it. But he's played armies like this before, so like it doesn't like him using a new army. To be honest, there's not much to it. You don't have a fearless bubble. You've got some shooting. You've got dudes who go, I'm going that way, and you've got a march. Kind of.
Yeah, it's a good list. I like it.
Yep. So moving on next, we do have Ali King's Dragon Emperor list, which we have played a number of times, a number of us here on the pod. I think it's slightly different. So we played him recently, and I think he just had the 1 Dragon Knight on foot, but he's doubled down on that, and he has 2. So for our audio listeners, he's running the Dragon Emperor Legion with 3 Black Dragon Warriors with shield, 7 with pike and shield, 1 Cataphract with a drum, and 4 acolytes with axes. And he's got 2 Dragon Knights on foot, which both have in their warbands 2 Black Dragon Warriors with shield and 3 with pike and shield. So
Everything in this list is a Black Dragon.
it's
Yes.
it's a bit of a different makeup for the Emperor list. It's something Ali's been experimenting different ways of running it. We've seen a few different iterations of that, but this is one he's locked in for the event at 550.
So this is an Ali list through and through. It's the Emperor's good, so is Ratabi and people think Ratabi and Rogo are good. Ali's gone, cool. I'm not gonna take them, and I'll take something else.
Yeah, trying to be out there and different.
Was it maybe because his broad gear got murked at Luke's house, Ash, which is why he's
We play. Me and James.
Yeah,
it's
me and Sam have
exactly
played this list.
Yeah. We played 650 at Luke's house, so he had Rutabi instead. Was a little bit different.
He
yeah.
did not. He had Broadgear and a Dragon Knight.
Yeah, of course.
But you guys have played it with the 2 Dragon Knights on foot.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is in Winchester, wasn't it?
I think I'm pretty sure. I feel like he had more models in the previous list, James. Or
No, he had this exact.
What, 28
Only
still?
28 is just.
It's only 28. Yeah.
Not 30,
So-
isn't he? Or am I being stupid?
No, it's 28.
So it's
28 with.
literally-
Sorry, Sam. Carry
It's
on.
a case of I remember talking to him. He thinks the acolytes are mega bang for your buck, and he thinks that the cataphracts are some of the best pointed cav in the game in the Legion.
He's only got 1 though.
Yeah, which I'm surprised with. He's
only got 1. I totally scoped out on that.
So he's just got the drummer, which
I
He
think
won't
that's
even be
all you
using
need.
to charge in and do damage.
He just
He
needs to
totally
close-
does.
He needs to
Yeah.
close the gap, and then if you've got a defense 6 front line, he's like, cool, I'll chuck the Emperor and 2 Dragon Knights in.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
going to be drum forward, and then if you chuck a Dragonite in, and then you can slingshot off with a Cav, I imagine.
Mhm.
It's got what? How many swap weapon acolytes?
4.
Just a
4.
4. And then it's just Black Dragon everywhere.
I thought
But
he
a,
was
fr-
leaning-
a front line of 2 Dragon Knights, 4 Acolytes, all with multiple pikes behind
Yeah.
at fight 5
Yeah.
and strength 4, they could quite easily destroy Black Numenorian front line in no time at all.
The terrain will help him, I think.
Yeah, well, a lot.
Terrain will help him. You just gotta hope that you don't lose too many before you get to your opponent, essentially.
I guess
I don't think the terrain will help him, because if you've got like Harad Town or whatever,
The Emperor's not going anywhere.
Oh, the Emperor.
Yeah.
of course,
The gap's big enough. Ash has played it. The gaps are big enough between the buildings for the Emperor to move about without any problem.
oh, that's a shame.
and it's still getting the Emperor with the army. It can get a bit.
Basically, how well can Ali protect these acolytes? How well can he protect the Easterling Dragon Knights from shooting and magic? That will depend on how
I
well
think-
this list performs.
I mean, maybe he took away from your game that you had against him that I was lucky enough to watch. Is that
Amy's-
the one Draconite was just sat at the back, transfixed, doing nothing. But if he takes 2, then one of them is at least going to be in there doing something. And I guess he's hoping
Yeah.
he can get return on Blood and Glory from at least one of them.
Mhm.
And he's
We
looking
should-
very good.
Bearing in
We
mind,
should-
if you shut down one of the Dragon Knights, you've still got the Emperor and a Dragon Knight to do with.
Exactly, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. You've got the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
one who's still, so that's why he's taken 2 potentially.
Um,
I think Ali's just going to roll his disgusting green and black dice and just roll loads of 6s, and that's what he hopes with fight 5.
Nice.
So,
Those Skaven dice are awful.
yeah,
There's so many different cursed dice to choose from. It's actually
and that'll be his game plan. So
Yeah.
I know
It's pretty simple.
this is the first event he's taken this to, I think.
I'm surprised after the battering we gave him, that he's decided to pull through with it.
quite brave.
It'll be intriguing to see how he does.
Yeah, so that is Ali's interesting Dragon Emperor list. But we're going to move on to the next one, which is David Coleman with an unsurprising soup list for our audio listeners. He is running Aragorn.
Green Alliance.
It is a Green Alliance. You are right. My apologies. He's running
Is it?
Aragorn with armor on horse and Boromir.
No, it's not a Green Alliance.
Horse with shield. Do we get your facts right? I'm listening to your advice here.
It's a Green Alliance.
It
It is green, yeah.
Fellowship. Yeah.
You're being thick.
Elliot's making me second guess myself.
He's running that from the Fellowship, and then he's running Haldir with heavy armor and bow, 6 Galadriel warriors with shield, 3 with bow and spear, 1 with banner spear, 2 guard of the Galadriel court for the fight 6, and a Wood Elf Sentinel. So that is 16 models
Yes.
with 3 fight 6 heroes.
This is classic Irish. This is so Irish. It's unbelievable.
So Dave Coleman has often run Lothlorien with Fellowship, and it's normally Galadriel and Boromir of Gondor
Yeah.
and something else. I think a Haldir. I'm not entirely sure. He ran it to Articon last year. The fact he's got 16 models is a bit like, oh, that's interesting. So he's relying on his heroes to get there with horses, Boromir to get there alive.
But if he
I
does,
totally don't know how I feel about this. I mean,
I wouldn't be very scared.
Yeah, I guess you have March with Thingy, and you can get there potentially, but even when you get there, you have 16 models. I do imagine that the 2 heroes don't have horses. And can you get enough out of Boromir and Aragorn within the amount of turns you play to rule back from 16 models?
yeah.
So
When we
I would say from recently playing lower base number of models on a table, you can get a lot of turns in.
Yeah,
People underestimate how many turns you can get in. Like how many turns I played Ash, Sam, and Adam at Worcester. How many turns did we get in the games? Because I wasn't moving very much.
you get a lot in, but it's like your models were way harder to kill than David's in this list.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I get that.
Yours live for longer. These totally just don't.
He's got quite a lot of D5 as well in there for a 16 model army.
There's no protection for Boromir against magic. Usually when you see a soup Boromir chucked into lists, it's with Lady of Light who can then protect him with magic. Without, I mean, I guess the likelihood of seeing magic at 550 is also lower. But
there are 7 Witch Kings, so
yeah, that's the thing. There's 7 Witch Kings. There are 8 AOLs. That's a hell of a lot of magic for Boromir to just do nothing all game.
So yes, however, there is also Aragorn kicking around.
True.
You got what, usually 2 transfixes in AOL. I guess you're probably more scared of Aragorn. I don't really know.
You go for Boromir because you take the easy win, right? Going for Aragorn is risky.
You want that 6 might the hell away from your battle line.
Yeah.
You just kill the horses and then,
I just don't really know what this list does, to be honest. I feel like I just don't know if it does a lot.
Your 15 crossbows would terrorize this list.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what this list is trying to do. I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I would say he is one of the best players in Ireland, so it wouldn't surprise me if he did well with it.
Oh yeah, I've totally played him at Imps, and he totally is.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really, really good. I
get it. Like, I picked it because it's a low model count, but it could really hit hard.
It is an interesting list, Dewi. I will agree. We're going to move on to the next interesting one, which is Dan Hawkins running a Dol Guldur Azog's Hunter line. So he's taken the Lingering Shadow as his Wraith choice, and then from there it's pretty generic. I won't run through all of it. He's got a banner, a load of Hunter Orcs, a load of Gunnabads with spears. He's got a few Felwargs, a Merkin Spider in there, and then the heroes he's taken from Azog's Hunters are Thimble and Narzug. And he's gone max bows from the Azog's Hunters contingent, so he should have 14 bows, I believe, including Narzug.
I'm a fan.
I'm assuming the leader is
to
be the Lingering Shadow because it's Hero.
This is one thing about my rules pack is you must bring a Hero of Valor. So he was looking at Narzug, Thimble, Yazneg, and maybe a captain, and just spam. And then he was like, "Oh, right. So Dan is a fellow Guardian." And he was like, "Oh, curse you!" Da, da, da. And I was like, "Well, you got Lingering Shadow. You now have some spear supports. You now have a harder to kill banner, and you have a Merkin Spider."
Can we explain what the Lingering Shadow
I was
does?
about to say which one that is. It's the teleporting one, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, he's the one that before priority or after priority, I can't remember which. In priority phase, he can move 3 inches unimpeded. And obviously, if he dies, he then moves another 6.
So we can go
The likelihood of you killing Dan's leader is incredibly low.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those VPs are pretty much secure.
You still get a leader wound though.
Yeah.
They've only got 1 wound.
I don't think you do.
Doesn't matter. You can't take back a point.
Yeah, you've wounded the leader.
Yeah, I think it was FAQ'd about that. Yeah, I think.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think this. I totally when the whole list stuff came up, I totally looked at Azog's Hunters and thought, why is that so low? But being Hero of Valor, having to take it, that makes total sense. Why now?
So he could drop the Merkin Spider.
Yeah.
And get another 2 Hunter Orcs and maybe something else if he shimmies around some equipment. And he'd go up to 42 models.
42 compared to 40. At least at 40, you could potentially do a Hail Mary play with a spider.
It's also a 2 attack army at strength 4.
Yeah.
The luck with a paralyzed can be incredibly clutch. So
yeah, and talking to Dan, he was saying like he in 5 games out of 7, the Merkin Spider could do absolutely fuck all.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2 games, it could be absolutely pivotal.
Yeah, it's worth taking for like 2 less Hunter Orcs. So
yeah,
it's definitely an interesting list. I do like those ones that you put together there, Dewi. So thank you for that. So that's going to close out the interesting lists. We are going to get into the lists of the Gollum's gamers. Now, I said the Gollum's gamers and not the ones just here on the pod, because the first list is going to be a Gollum gamer who has not yet
Sheesh.
on the channel before. So we do have Jay's list. So Jay's going to be featuring on the pod. He is a Gollum gamer. He goes to many events.
Very busy man.
But he's a very busy man. So he's going to be getting on a pod at some point. But as he's going to the event, but he can't be on the pod, I got his list together and we can run through it. So it's Assault on Helm's Deep. It's a pretty standard run through. He has how many crossbows? 12 crossbows, I believe. Yeah. Plus the 2 ballistas. So he's put a crossbow on his captain. And it's 33 models at 550. It's the standard assault sort of deal. He's got a banner and a berserker.
We love this. We love this from Jay.
This is a meta play to win this 100 event. He's already won Into the West with 450. All he's done here is add another ballista and then spent, 35 points or something.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
With terrain, I mean, it's going to be a bit harder.
Yes, very good point.
Yeah.
And with 7 AOL, it may be a little bit harder as well.
You think
There
it's
is
a
also
bridge
one
too
Shadow
far?
Lord.
And a Shadow Lord.
There is one Shadow Lord.
That might be 7 AOL. I mean, it's not that this instantly loses to AOL, but I think it definitely has a harder time. I know obviously the blisters only hit on 6s at that point, and then you get the reroll, so you probably are going to hit 1. But it's still the scatter. It'll be interesting. I wonder if I think he's just got to dodge those, to be honest with you, to his best of ability.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's just mass strength 4 shooting, which against Army of Lake Town is pretty good.
Especially at the low points when they don't get blinding light.
Yeah. And the ballistas are gonna you shoot, Braga, the Master, Alfred. That'll be pretty big, pretty funny. I don't think a lot counters this, to be honest. I guess just high model count, try and march up to it as fast as possible.
Ash.
I didn't actually pay attention. How many Assault upon Helm's Deeps are there coming to your event, Dewi?
3.
Okay.
3, but 5 ballistas.
Right. I see. Any bombs?
Yes, one of them is 1 ballista, 1 bomb.
Interesting.
I think the double blister is better.
It is.
Agreed.
Not entirely sold.
Majority of the time, I think you're going to get more return out of the ballista than you are bomb.
7 games.
Which, yeah.
Bomb, you have utter control of where it goes.
That's true. That's true. I guess the ballista's cheaper. 15 cheaper, is it?
17. You always give them 2 flaming brands, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a good list. I like it a lot. I don't think you can really go wrong with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I would be terrified to play, Jay.
I like it.
Any closing comments on Jay's assault list? It's fairly box standard.
Not on his assault list, but he asked if there was space on Guardians before he went to you boys.
Well, the game's a game.
Shout out.
I've got to get some digs in.
You picked Wiggins over Jay. I mean, that's your stupidity.
That's your fault.
That's on you.
Yeah, well.
You can't overcome that one. Moving on, we do have James's Rangers of Banquet list.
Oh, the go.
Oh.
Would you like to briefly
Definitely
run through
better
your
than-
list, James?
It's definitely better than Ed's version. So yeah, we got Legolas for cloak, 12 rangers, a sentinel, and then Tariel, 10 rangers and a sentinel. So you get an extra model instead of having an extra sentinel, basically.
I did notice,
which I think is way more vital.
When I was putting it into Lonely Night Builder, I think you've maximized points. You only have like a few points there, where he's got like 6 points spare or something.
Yeah, I think I'm like 1 point off.
Yeah, he's got more spare, or 5. Yeah, where you've maximized. So yes, you have a sentinel less, but you're playing points up. So
exactly,
should be better.
But learning that there's going to be a lot of terrain, this is no longer quite as good as it looked.
James,
not a fan of you for that, Dewi.
It was always in the rules pack.
I don't read those, so
that's on you. I can tell you don't read them from a previous podcast where Sam slightly
exactly
shot your
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Could be a common theme throughout the year.
I think James, you just got to position correctly. You normally do. I don't think it'll be too bad for you.
Yeah.
You're so in my mind, Rangers of Mirkwood entirely depends on scenario and matchup. If it isn't in your favor, you're gonna struggle. If it is, you probably should be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of just auto win games with Rangers of Mirkwood, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Providing people don't stand behind buildings and don't let you shoot at all.
And just hide.
Oh yeah, but then they're not doing anything if they're stuck standing behind buildings.
Yeah, but they could get a draw at you.
Oh yeah, totally. But if they're playing for a draw, they're already losing.
Boring gameplay. Yeah. I think we
but you're also stopping someone else from winning. So
sometimes you've got to play for a draw. It's not the prettiest thing to do, but in a stinky scenario and matchup, that'd be the best thing to do.
Boring. Anyway, moving on, we do have my list. Mine is next. So I am running Defenders of Helm's Deep. I think I talked about this briefly in the previous episode. So I've ran Defenders before, and a change I'm doing here is that I'm running a full front line of Royal Guard. Shout out to Bert Leach. So the list for the audio listeners is Theoden with Heavy Armor Shield, and Haleth with 4 Warriors of Rohan with Throwing Spear Shield, 8 Royal Guard with Throwing Spear, 4 Galadriel Warriors with Spear and Bow, and 1 with only a Spear. And then in the second warband, we have Gamling with Aldor. He obviously has the banner. Then we have 5 Royal Guard with Throwing Spear and 5 with Spear and Bow. So it's 31 models, which is below the average count. And then 11 bows, which is slightly above the average count. Lots of them are elf bows. And then we've got Aldor and Haleth in there as well. So it's a 5-5 line, basically. D6 at the front, loads of throwing spears, lots of might. And that's basically it.
I like the D6 at the front because I've played Bert a few times and I run into his Warriors of Rohan who are I enjoy your D6 line. I've run into his D5 line and then just because he's only got a 3-inch banner. You then win some other fights, and more than likely you are going to kill those D5 models.
Yeah.
I think this is really good. All the might and the throwing weapons. Yeah, I think it's great.
It's quite matchup dependent, I think, in ways.
Yeah.
I think it kind of struggles against magic.
It doesn't do well in scenarios like Assassination, Fog of War, Contested Champions. The lack of Cav doesn't really help it in Recon. It's definitely got bad matchups.
It has some limitations.
I don't think magic is that bad for it, is it?
They can control gambling entirely.
Yeah.
You can just 3-point trapping.
With 31 models, though, 3-point trapping a hero.
It's on the lower side. Like, I'm 5-5. Like,
That's
30's okay. It really annoys me I couldn't get it to 32 models. That's basically the sacrifice from having the Royal Guard because they're very expensive.
So
but,
you could. So I've run Defenders before, and to get the extra models, changed 2 of the bowmen to like Rohan bows.
Yeah, I've tried to go like max elves for 5-5. So that's why I've even got just 1 Galadriel with spear.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's how I've done it before, and even just drop shields off Warriors of Rohan and just take them with throwing spears and axes.
Before, but you
an extra model is useful.
Yeah,
but
to make the break higher.
So the thing about Defenders of Helm's Deep is it's good at 450, it's good at 500, 550. You've basically got to chuck in Aldor. You've not really got any other choices.
Yeah. Aldor is, I would argue, really pretty good.
He's all right.
I think he's pretty good. I think you get a lot of value out of him.
He was totally not convinced
with the heroic accuracy, as James will attest to playing Bert actually last round. Nobody tossed the draw.
Yeah, that's because he just hit through Blinding Light with luck. Nothing to do with the heroic accuracy, really.
That did play a part in killing Kid, though.
It was more the 5-6s off 7 dice, to be honest.
Yeah.
You see
Classic Bert there.
You see the argument, though. Yeah, the heroic accuracy is pretty good, I think. He's only 20 points.
I feel like I just looking at this list compared to others, it just doesn't look as scary.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have a scare factor. No,
it's just. I guess it's just really consistent, and That helps a lot. But I mean,
I think it will grind you out the wins, but not having Cav,
Yeah.
sucks. Not
Spam
having a
D6.
real hitter
No.
sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So it's whether like you can get a good return from like throwing spears. Got a lot of them if you're playing against like, D5 or something, and you roll hot, things can go really well over 7 games. That's quite unlikely to bank on.
so in my mind, at this event, you've either got, obviously you've got your Golden Ton hordes, you've got a Lake Town list, which I don't know if it'll be scared of this. It can march up in your face. You'll get 1 round of throwing spear, and then they'll hit you with their big things. Legolas is probably shooting Gamling or Haleth to death.
Yeah.
And then you've got a D6 line that you're probably fighting. So throwing spears, could whittle a few down, but maybe not loads. And then they'll have
D6.
magic and a hitter to hit you back with as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's definitely not like a meta list. It has some flaws. Yeah. But we'll see. I used it at war at 550 and it went fairly well.
Intriguing.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to use it at 550. I think it's a fairly decent points level for it. And we'll see how I get on.
Yeah.
But moving on, we do have another Gollum gamers list who is not here, and that is Vince with his Goblin Town list. So for the audio listeners, he is running the Goblin King with Gollum, Grinner, Captain, and the Scribe, and a shit ton of Goblin Warriors. It's 70 models all in. It's pretty spammy.
I thought Gollum wasn't very good in Goblin Town.
Vince, it's intriguing that Vince said that and then has taken Gollum to the last 2 times he's.
When it got sent in, I did have a little chuckle to myself.
He was advocating for Gollum in the chat earlier. I love it.
It takes a strong man to admit when he was wrong.
It does.
And clearly, Vince has done that. Credit to him.
Tom's
so I actually listened back to that episode, and it was really funny, especially when Tom went to get his trophies.
Went in. That was
but I will say, Vinny actually didn't say don't take Gollum. He just said there's an argument you'd consider not taking him.
I really don't think there is, personally.
He was definitely on the fence. Why would you bring it up if you then didn't like the profile?
Because we're a podcast.
Right here with the big brain plays.
I don't like it.
But he's seen the light nonetheless, and he's putting Gollum in every list now.
Yeah, he's seen the light.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's correct too.
Yeah,
he knows it.
Yeah,
but no.
I think
it's Goblin Town at low points. It'll do well in some scenarios. It won't in others. Some matchups will like it. Some matchups will hate it.
Is there? So this is just, by the way, because obviously it's 7 games. Is it one from each pod and then a random one?
Correct.
So it's okay. So it could be you could play Lords, and then you could play
Contest
to the death or contest again.
Yes, correct.
I mean, majority of the scenarios it does pretty well at. I guess if you get 2 of those pools, or 2 from that pool, pretty stinky. It's not the best, but is what it is.
1 in 6.
Likely.
Yeah.
Do you expect the winner of your event, Dewi, to go 7-0?
No.
Probably not.
Okay.
6 of a draw, I reckon.
Probably. I can't honestly remember what club he did last year. I think it was 6 in a draw.
Last year.
Huh?
Was that 7 games last year?
Yeah.
That was the event I was incredibly ill at and almost dropped out of.
Classic Elliot maneuver there.
To be honest, you did that at 2 of my events last year.
I did, including the finale.
Yeah,
Like,
where were you day 2 finale?
Yeah, I was not in a good place.
He had one too many rainbow rhythms, and that was game over for Elliot.
So we had 1.
Yeah.
So that's Vince's Goblin Town list. Moving on next, we do have Sam's Corsairs, if you want to take us through that.
Yeah. So I have brought Corsairs. So I don't know if it's controversial or whatever. I totally haven't brought Dalamir. I've actually got Delgamar as my leader. He's got 10 Corsairs with Shield Spear, 5 Corsair Arbalesters. I've then got 2 identical warbands of a Captain with Crossbow, 8 Corsairs with Shield and Spear, and 4 Corsairs. So it's 42 models, 15 crossbow shots, including the Captain. Obviously, both have might on them. And it's actually got 7 might, whoever put this.
Oh, sorry. It was obviously me. Yeah.
So
3,
Delgamar 3.
7.
That's the only benefit instead of Dalamir. So yeah, it's 3-2-2. It's just spam straight forward shooting, isn't it? Realistically, and loads of throwing daggers. That's it.
I'm intrigued.
In
I'm
a
not gonna
good
lie.
way or bad way?
When I put this into my into Lonely Night, when I was checking all this, I was like, he's 15 points over. What the fuck's he doing? And then realized you had Delgamar.
Mhm.
I think I did exactly the same thing.
Exactly why I said it might be a controversial decision that I've got Delgamar instead of Dalamir.
Why did you?
Because he is 15 points cheaper and has the extra point of might, and means that I don't have to run a bosun to get a banner effect. Although it's a sussy banner, as you take the strength, however, whatever it is, it's still a banner that affects both models in combat at Fight 4.
So you effectively get 4 dice in the combat if you're within 3 inches of Delgamar.
Yeah. If someone rolls like it, if you lose, say if I roll a 2 high and then my opponent rolls a 3 high, and then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to double whip and win. So I think it's like, obviously you take the penalty if you don't win the fight. So but majority of the time you should, if you're using it all the time.
So I would say yes. However, your battle line isn't that big.
But 3 inches isn't that big either.
So
from
A,
Delgamar.
3 inches isn't that big, and B, you've got what was that, 13 crossbows?
Yeah.
So they're not going to be in combat.
Oh no, they totally are.
Yeah, but like maybe not at the same time as the rest of the.
This is basically going to be rank and file. I'll have 3 pockets of crossbows. They fire down, and then I might, if I need to move up, 1 will move up, or 2 will move up, 1 will stand still, or 1 will move up, 2 will stand still.
Yeah.
So that I gradually gain a bit of board control-esque, while still people having to worry about the shooting. And Corsairs obviously have no, if you take them pure, they have no cav, which the 4 might for March, if I really, really need it, is nice. And Corsairs usually have low might count because of Dalamir. And if you take a bosun, they only have 1 might. So
yeah,
this also doesn't give me low might. 7 might is, I guess, pretty good. Well, you're probably above average.
Did we have an average might stat, Dewi?
no, it's something I've just thought of.
Yeah. I'd assume, I don't know what the average would be, maybe 6.
Probably a little bit higher.
I guess with Lake Town that proper fucks it, but
yeah.
I think seven's good enough because it's the shooting with the crossbows, and then once you get in range, it becomes more of that skirmishy army with the throwing daggers, splitting up to then try and have moves everywhere to then take advantage of the backstabbers with trapping. And it's still 3 fight 5 heroes that can just go in and try and wound stuff.
I would say you're probably on the lower end of the might.
On 7.
Yeah, there's like the Witch King, another hero lists are like 5 or 6, but there's quite a lot that have got 7 to 9. Maybe
lots of like
more.
the spammy model lists. You get quite a lot like the cheap 3 might heroes.
I guess Lake Town is going to be obviously got like putting 9 or 11 or some dog shit.
I would say the average is probably pushing 8. Maybe
Really?
a little bit higher. Yeah.
So that means
there's so like all the AOLs are 7, but then you've got lists that have got like
how is AOL 7?
Druzag's 2, Musgo's 2, a Captain's 2, and a Shaman's 1.
Oh, they're taking 4 warbands in AOL.
Yeah.
550.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Not how the Grattan would take it.
How are they getting 45 models with 4 warbands?
Because they're goblins.
Yeah, but even then, even if you take spam goblins, you only get.
No, most of the AOLs have.
That's pretty sussy.
4 heroes.
And did you not take a captain as well?
Totally didn't. I just had Shaman.
But then you've got armies like Lurtz Scouts that have got 9.
Cheap
I guess.
heroes, Azog's Hunters. Stuff like that.
Azog's Hunter's got 9. Ali's Emperor list has got 7. Like there's a
probably-
Lothlorien that's got 9. So yeah, like a fair few of them are pushing higher than
Okay, that's
higher
interesting.
than 7.
Yeah, I literally I made this list not as a joke, but I just thought, do I take Corsairs? Let me see if I can just make one without Downer. And then this was my first iteration, and I thought,
I think it could be decent. I genuinely think it could be decent. I
Yeah.
also think it could melt very quickly.
it either melts with the 15 shots, or like you said, being D4 everywhere, it gets melted.
So coming up against a D6 army, what like that basically catches you in combat. What would you think would happen?
Very much depends, because
It's
it's going to be
farmer type list.
So that's going to be
You're men, aren't you?
trying to shoot out the Black Nuns.
Yeah. Because
they're your fight 4. The terror is also annoying. They don't, apart from, I guess, Delgmar is an okay target for magic wise. I don't really need Delgmar in combat all the time, so it's not the biggest thing. I guess you just get black darted and it's whatever. And then it's just try and swarm, trap, and get the +1 to wound when in combat.
You're in that weird catch-22 where your leader isn't a great leader, but he also gives you your banner effect, so wants to be close.
Yeah, if I play the games correctly and I don't make it's gonna be small mistakes that catch me out with this list, basically within positioning and knowing when to move up and stop shooting. That's going to be the thing that will lose me games.
Yeah.
But if I'm okay and I time it correctly when it comes to that, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah. So that's Sam's Corsairs list.
I think it's really good.
Moving on. Sorry, did you have any comments, Adam?
No, I just think they're really, really good at low points because you get good numbers. Your shooting is probably one of the best out of the 70 lists.
It's because it's D6 shooting, isn't it? Or it's D6 arbalesters against shooting.
Yeah, exactly. So you can actually even advance this as a wall, keeping the arbalest at the front, right?
Yeah.
I think it's really good. Yeah.
James, you had some strong opinions when Sam first showed us this list. Why were you so negative?
I don't know. I think it's just because I was running a very shooty list as well, and its strongest part is the fact that it outshoots most things, and then it wasn't doing that.
Sad from James.
No, other way around, Elliot.
Sad from Sam.
Oh, Sam, sorry. I thought you were talking about your
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's when it comes to outshooting, the list that it doesn't outshoot, i.e. the Rangers of Mirkwood and Rangers of Ithilien. Rangers of Mirkwood, you just, like Adam said, you just put all your arbalists in the front and you march up. So your D6 front line, you're running on 6s. You're obviously going to try to shoot behind. And then the throwing daggers really hurt Rangers of Mirkwood because it's still, 20... I think it's 29 throwing weapons in that list. Wounding Rangers on 4s is pretty good. And to be honest, I haven't exactly played the other Rangers of Ithilien list, but I guess it'd be similar.
You totally outshoot me as well. Like
I think I outshoot every list apart from because Lake Town you win them on 4s, so and then you also fight 4. The throwing weapons would hurt them a bit. It'd be interesting.
Depends what the scenario is. I think you probably outshoot
most.
Like you probably even outshoot Rangers of Ithilien, I want to say, if it's like a Lords of Battle scenario.
Is there major minor in this event, Dewi?
Yes.
So I think that's going to be my biggest thing.
So it's not just major minor. For those who haven't been to my events before, I did it at the finale as well. We have 3 levels of victory. We haven't named them or anything. So if you
Victory of Legend.
yeah, pretty much. if you win your game, you get 6 TPs. If you lose your game, you get 1. If you draw, you get 3. If you win by 7 or more VP diff, you get an extra point. If you win by 4 to 6 more, you get half a point. If you win by 1 to 3 more, you don't get extra points. And vice versa for losing. If you lose by 7 or more VP diff, it's -1. So you get 0. And if you lose by 4 to 6, you minus half a point, so you get half a point. So it encourages going for the big wins whilst also restricting your opponent.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest thing for this is I'm usually going to have to play fairly defensive at the start to shoot, and then to try and get the big VPs at the end. Whilst, say, if it's like I don't know, a retrieval, for example, I'm more likely going to play defensive to shoot and then not have enough time to go push for their objectives, which is going to get me smaller wins, which could impact me. That'd be
I actually kind of disagree with that, because the fact that Dewi's has 7 games means if you win small, you'll avoid the bigger players, and then potentially you could go that 6 games, those 6 wins. Because if you just win the game, it doesn't matter, because there's so many games, you can just still accrue the points that are necessary to take the event.
What's the TP diff between a big win and just a win? Just 1?
No, half, I think.
No, it was 1.
6, 6.5, and 7 points for a win.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So okay.
So yeah, you can go.
So over 7 games, if someone has basically over 6, if someone wins 6 games by 7 or more VPs, they basically get an extra win.
Yeah.
Which will hurt in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear the major minor breakdown there. But we will move on from Sam's list to the final 2 lists, which I've combined into one for everyone.
Let's go, Ashley.
So shall we, Adam? I don't know if we should let the rest of the Gollum's gamers and Dewi we won't say anything and just let them compare our lists and see.
So as I've already looked at them, I can sort of highlight for our audio listeners what the differences are. So Adam in his list has gone for more Morannons, but fewer Black Numenorians. Ultimately, they have the same stats on the Witch King, which is 3, 14, 3. And then in the Serpent Horde contingent, Adam has an extra bow, an extra Haradrim Spearman, and he's gone for 4 Serpent Guard and 2 Serpent Riders, where Ash has gone for 3 naked Haradrim Warriors, but 3 Serpent Riders. So he's got an extra rider in there, basically, and he's sacrificed points by having some naked Haradrim Warriors, and he has 1 less bow.
You say that they have
the same Morannons, but we both have 8.
You said Adam has more.
Oh, sorry, I meant more spears. Sorry.
No.
Ash, what have you gone on the Witch King?
I said you both meant 3, 14, 3, I think.
3, 14, 3.
Yeah.
I totally should have those 4 Morannon Orcs with spear as well.
Are they meant to? Or do we have a look at the list that was submitted?
If I've submitted the wrong list, this is
unless I'm wrong.
He's fumbled.
I totally haven't.
Let's take a vote.
I've got it up on my phone.
Who's wrong, Elliot or Ash?
Elliot is wrong.
I put them all into the PowerPoint.
Correct.
I'll make this conversation really quick. I actually think Ashley's is better.
I agree.
Why?
He's got 2 more Numenorians. I just don't own that many.
Fair enough.
He's got an extra point of will on the Witch King, and he's got an extra cav. I don't think the extra fight 4 that I have is really that valuable.
Basically, because obviously, Adam, you were conversing with everyone in the chat, and I saw your initial list, and I thought the best aspect of this list is the Black Numenorian shield wall.
Yep.
I'm going to maximize that and take away from the weaker aspect, which is the Haradrim.
You both have 13 will, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I said twice.
Ash, do you know you have 13 will, or do you still think you have 14?
I never said I had 14.
Yeah, you did.
When?
Oh,
2 minutes ago.
Totally didn't get baited like I did.
I'm gonna
I
hope
swear I
you.
said I only had 13.
No, you.
No,
totally
Elliot said 14. Everyone else said 13.
That's not my fault. Then Elliot's got my army wrong, is it?
I'm sorry, I said they both had 3-14-3 when I meant.
Yeah, and then Adam said, "Oh, how
13.
much do you have, Ash?" And you meant 14.
I got it wrong again.
I don't
Anyway,
think
the
so.
point is, you've got more Numenorians, therefore I think yours are slightly better. Done.
Yeah. What does the floor think?
Adam, you should totally just do what I'm doing and just ask Ash to borrow all his models, and then you could have the most amount of black numbers.
I wouldn't fit my aesthetic though, because mine are a bit different.
Way better
Well painted.
painted.
Yes, I forgot. Yeah.
I was going to talk about the conversion, but sure.
I think I feel like you can just get fight 4 from the nuns, and them being D6, they're less likely to die. So obviously the Servant Guard are going to be spear supporting, but I'd rather
They're
have.
spear supporting the Morannons. That's already gone poorly.
Yeah. So I think the extra cav's just a bit nicer having 3.
Yeah.
Extra cav is useful, most definitely. Extra fight 4 is also useful.
True.
The 3 naked Haradrim warriors, though, not great.
So they are.
Adam has more D6.
No.
Yeah.
Is it equal?
Probably doesn't.
No.
I have 18,
No.
he has 16. Mr. Dewi.
Do we have him?
No,
I think.
No, I could totally be wrong, actually.
No, you've got 14 D6 and he's got 15.
Yeah. It's because it says
And
shield,
non-fight
but it's
four.
actually meant to
Yeah.
be spear.
Oh, the same
Oh.
with same with Adam's list. It's 1 round on orc with spear.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Elliot's
Elliot
pointing out, mate.
confusing everyone.
I did put like 8 lists into Lonely Night Builder, especially for the presentation. So
Try putting 74 in.
apologies. Butchered it.
He did his best, to be fair.
Adams performs better in scenarios like Divide and Conquer. That's the good thing.
Yeah.
Because Ash's is very. I mean, I guess
Please don't draw Divide and Conquer, Dewi.
you have no fight 4 in that one warband. Adam still does.
Mm.
You can still spear support everything in your Mordor warband.
I think we're over talking this. I think they're extremely similar. I just think Ash's is a tiny bit, like 1%, 2% better. Like
The big thing is the extra Serpent Rider.
Yeah.
That's literally the only difference.
Oh,
The number of Black Numenorians, yes, it matters,
Mine it
but
is.
a decent player will go, cool, I'm going to send a hero into 2 Black Numenorians and kill 2 of them. So, fine.
Just
The
to
extra-
wait.
The extra
Just to
rider
wait.
helps.
Just to wait. The 3 Haradrim warriors with no war gear. They're going to be a classic Ashley conversion, and
They're
they're going
coming
to
for
look
everyone.
horrific. Can't wait.
Cannot wait to see it.
Oh.
Okay, so that is going to wrap up everyone's lists. So, as we usually do in our preview episodes, we are going to get into a tier list.
Tier list. Let's go.
Oh,
First of
we've
all,
got faces now.
I need photos of Ash and Adam.
Hey, that's so
Really-
cursed. I've sent you a
Use
couple
their-
of photos of which I look reasonably
their
normal.
heads on the thumbnails, so let's just use those.
Adam, you've been outstyled there with that face.
So we may, as
Adam
well
looks way
start,
better than you, mate.
we may as well start
Yeah.
here. So were we saying that Ash, his list was better? So also shout out to North Macedonia. Any listeners?
Oh,
North Macedonia.
if North Macedonia has a SBG scene, we want to hear about it.
Yeah, please let us know. But where are we putting Ash's and Adam's lists as they're kind of one essentially?
I think let's hear Dewey's first.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because he's looked at all the lists.
Oh,
have looked at all the lists.
Yeah.
So I would say Adam and Ash's are probably the most well-rounded
oh.
for what you could possibly play in what possible scenario out of everyone. The others are quite matchup and scenario dependent, I would say. Elliot's and Assault's slightly less so, but definitely if you're relying on shooting or a horde, it definitely depends on what you're playing and what scenario it is. but where they rank in accordance with each other, I'm gonna let you fight out.
What would you say is the list that you would expect to win? What would you say is out of the list you've seen, the one you think is the best?
Oh
If that's
God.
not too much of a hard question, so we can compare it with our lists.
So Louis Arnor Khazad, in my mind, just seems very solid.
Yeah.
D6, D7, it's got a fight 6 leader who's D8. It's got bodyguard in the front. It's 40 models. Like,
So that's the lemon list that we're comparing these two.
Obviously, it's low points and it's 7 games. So there will be some luck involved for whoever wins.
Yes.
I don't care how good they think they say they are. They will have some luck in the matchup and the scenario along the way. You have to.
Yeah.
So
1000%.
So equating it to last year, Farmer and Clubley Farmer was 6-0 and Clubley was 5 and a draw going into the last game. Farmer had like a 19 or 20 model army. Clubley had a 40 model Arnor army, and the last scenario, which was random out of all of them, was domination. Like, that's an uphill battle for Farmer straight away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll all come down to luck or whatever, and the scenario and the army you play against. But yeah,
where are we putting their list, gents? What do we think? Who's is going where?
I think my list is pretty lemon.
That's bold.
It's not lemon.
I'd love to see my little gremlin face at the top of lemon. That would make me happy.
Our first North Macedonia list.
Oh!
Personally, I don't think there's any list coming that is stand out above the rest.
Ooh, interesting.
So were we saying that Ashes is better than Adam slightly?
Very, very slightly.
I would be happy to, I guess, put them in silly nervous.
So, seeing as Ash literally designed his list upon mine and then tweaked it,
That's true.
I would essentially mine.
I was running this list way before you, Adam. Let's
actually
let's chill.
It was exactly the same time.
I ran this in the smell like
Yes.
a year and a half ago.
The smell.
The smell.
Do you remember when we met?
Yeah.
Of course.
Throwback to Norwich.
Norwich gang.
We both ran that list then.
That's true, but specifically at 550, that was like a 700-point event.
At 550.
So yeah, mine is literally like, you know, when you get so I'm a teacher. Imagine if you get kids to do like an English coursework. So mine was the first draft, and it feels like Ash has basically just looked at that and gone, yeah, we can just tweak that a little bit. Just tweak that one, throw that through Chat GPT, see what comes out, tweak it a little bit more. So of course, yeah, I think yours is naturally better.
Refined slightly.
I'm waiting for Chat GPT to be able to write SBG lists and see how that completely ruins the meta.
It can already. There's just not that.
No, it can already, but yeah, exactly.
Because it's like 2 years behind.
We should totally all just take Chat GPT lists to an event and see how we get on. That would be legit.
GBHL 80 idea. You just take everyone has to take a randomly generated Chat GPT list and just see what happens.
5 draw. Yeah, I like it. Are we happy with this as it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, cool.
Both in silly nervous, yeah.
Yeah. So next up we have Sam's Corsairs.
It's pretty dog, I think.
Not liking the Delgamar pick there.
It just would be better if it was Corsairs and Saladin, I think.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get anywhere near the numbers though.
Yeah, cool. That's the 550, like Dewi said, is really awkward because you can't fill out both warbands.
You basically have to take Suladan, some mounted cav, Dalamir, and maybe a captain. But even then, you're hitting early 30s probably.
Yeah, you'd have 35 models max. if you took that. Like you can't really afford to fit the captain because it just doesn't really work. It's
You
just
could
really
go to
awkward.
you could go to 38 with max warbands in both, but you'd probably have a lot of higher pointed troops, or you'd have like
Yeah.
4 or 5 cav. So
You could maybe take like Sullivan, Delgamar, and a captain, and then have Sullivan as your leader, but that doesn't feel amazing.
yeah.
So it's just really awkward.
So where do you think it lies then, Sam, as the master and
I'm not
creator?
I'm not placing it. You place it first. I'll then say my opinion, mate.
I've already said dog.
I think it's the top of nervous.
I'd say it's nervous. I think
Yeah.
it's right in this sort of like lower end of silly nervous, potentially top of
The-
nervous range.
The issue is you've got a squishy leader, and if you don't get your shooting, you could be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah. It's like these lists all have strengths where in one game, like, oh yeah, you could get, really
One
good
game it'll win you it.
and you do
Absolutely.
really well. But it's I guess we're looking at all of these over 7 games, the potential issues they could run into.
Yeah.
I could see you going 5-2 though, with it, to be honest.
Yeah, Sam's a good player. I can see
With
that.
a bit of luck.
Is he though?
Throwing shots.
Captain
Yeah.
Grat Sparrow. What are you going to say about
Captain
that?
Brad Sparrow.
Shaken.
I find Ash saying dog when he literally he only won our game the other day because he got so lucky in the last.
When Sam has to say, "Oh, he only won because of this. He only won."
Yeah, it's true.
Weekend.
There's no denying that. You know it.
Yeah, but you still took the fat L. So what does that
Yeah.
mean?
Top of nervous, bottom of silly nervous. I'm happy with that.
Around that sort of mark.
Bottom of silly is reaching.
You'd hope the 15 crossbows and the amount of throw weapons that you're shooting would at least do something per game. And I think
Over
as long as
7
it is,
games,
Mm,
as long as it does something,
you're looking pretty good.
I think it's okay.
Yeah. Respectful.
Especially against the D4 armies that are there, your Azos Hunters, all of your Lake Town, against AOL.
I guess it does do well against the Lake
Quite
Town
cool.
meta. So that's true.
It's really good against AOL.
You just walk up with the crossbows in the front, and then you out fight them, and you have aroundish the same model count. I don't know how many you lose, but you got there.
You have 7 might to just constantly throw weapons at them.
Yeah,
But they have
Sam
7
is-
might. They have 7 might back.
yeah, but you don't really want to move with
True,
AOL.
but yeah.
The thing is, what
Sam.
AOL are really, really good at is obviously taking out heroes, like solid heroes, big heroes. But you don't really have any of those, so you don't really care. Just throw them to fight 4 of them.
Then we go back to the whole might situation. If they take out one of your captains in a turn, you have 2 less might, and they have 2 more.
Yeah.
But to do that with AOL in one turn is really unlikely.
You can
Unless Sam plays.
And an enraged battle spider will kill a Corsair captain in a turn.
Oh yeah, with it, I thought you meant shooting wise.
no,
that
no,
has
no,
to
no.
mean that Sam misplays quite badly
Yeah.
that captain.
Yeah.
I think because I've used AOL, it's so easy not to have a spider go into one of your heroes that you really don't want to die. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it'd be fine. To me, my list, all the ones that I'd thought, that'll probably get taken. It's pretty meta. I feel like I have quite good matchups into.
You're hoping you play all the cheesiest shit at the event.
I'm hoping I play Lake Town. I'm hoping I play AOL. I think I'm fine against Arnor. I guess you shoot all their D4 spear sports, and you still fight 4. You win them on 4s. Hunters, you're throwing daggers and the straight 4 crossbows again.
Yeah.
Shred them. I guess, and if I play against a Witch King list that has black numbs, you shoot black numbs, then you have more models that fight 4. It totally does just depend on.
Like I said earlier, if you have to play a D6 army that can deploy right on the front, and you have to for capture and control breakthrough, otherwise you're basically surrendering 4 objectives.
Yeah,
that could be tricky.
In that scenario, you probably you take 1 turn, you could deploy like 8 inches back, you take 1 turn, and then you push up after that, essentially. Which
But then you've already surrendered 4 objectives. Just
Yeah,
like Dewi
and the game could end.
Yeah, but
That
that's not,
catches so many people out who have shooting lists.
yeah, it's not too hard to. Is you only then 6 inches back, and you only need to be on the 24-inch line to gain 4 back anyway. So it's not like you're horrendously far away. It's like you need to get to the other board edge.
You have
really
got to
need to
break through the line.
Yeah, you've then got to get through the army, which is the other thing.
Yeah, but you probably on average D6, you get like 4 models.
Yeah, like it's not
just depends
beyond
on
the
how
realms
the
of
battle goes.
possibility. But yeah.
Yeah, depends on
If
how
the
battle
game
goes.
ends first turn, you are in trouble, basically.
But then it could go on for fucking ages, like mine and James's did.
Yeah,
Yep.
true. But you don't. I guess
You
by
don't want
putting
to put yourself in a position where you
Yeah,
could
exactly.
lose the
Put
game
yourself in that
because
risk.
Oh
of
yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to. There's no.
Yeah, sometimes it's your only option.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Agreed.
But I would say you've got enough models that you could just deploy on the front line.
Yeah, like that for that
Yes.
one game, it's more likely it's not going to end than it is. So you
Yeah.
kind of have to play for that. Okay, hopefully it doesn't end first turn. And if it does, that's that's tough bad. Like, tough bad.
That's tough, bad.
Tough.
We've had
That is
two
running
classic-
through gold dust.
Running through gold
That's
dust. Tough
too
bad.
bad. But yeah,
Sam,
Yeah. So are we thinking top and nervous? I think we're agreed
Yeah.
there, roughly around that mark. Cool. So moving on, we have Vince's Goblin Town.
I think this is silly nervous below Adams. I think this is better than Sam's list. I reckon it will win more scenarios. It has more favourable matchups than Sam does, and it also has ways to negate its less favourable matchups slightly better.
I don't know.
No, I also disagree with that.
I don't know about that, Chief. Like with the amount of shooting.
With the amount of shooting and the terror front lines kicking around.
Yeah.
True, terror is very bad for Goblin Town.
I think there's more armies that counter this than you think. Because all the Witch Kings, all of the say you have a 40
Lake Towns do it dirty.
Yeah, like you shoot the shit out of them and then you high fight.
But shooting, you say you shoot the shit out of them, but unless you're elves, the strength 2 bows are only winning them on 5s anyway, which means you don't actually kill that many goblins.
Yeah, but you're walking into a fight 3, fight 4 wall with 48 models, and you'd hope that you kill quite a few a turn.
Who has 48 models?
Lake Town would have 48 models easily.
Remember terrain.
Yeah.
You can only fit that amount. You can't fit 70 goblins in combat.
Yeah. You're probably, I think you swayed me, to be fair.
And the amount of times, like you nearly beat Goblin Town with 30, like it was 60, 70 model Goblin Town with bloody Dragon Emperor at 30 models. So it's not, and that didn't have terror. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't have the things that affect it.
I think it's below Sam's. I think Sam's ripped a new one.
In a direct matchup, Corsairs absolutely ruin it.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, I think Goblin Town will have the ability to do really, really well, because he'll have 5 scenarios where he's probably pretty happy.
Probably.
They have the ability to perform better over 7 scenarios than Sam's list, Adam.
Yeah, I think the Goblin Town are just, it's fine there. But I think both of those lists are only there because of Ash's and mine.
Probably.
Otherwise, it'd probably both be silly nervous.
Does Vince's list have mercs?
No.
No, it's not scribe.
The other Goblin Town list has mercs.
And do we think mercs
I think if it had mercs, it'd be better.
Mercs are totally better than the scribe.
Yeah. If it had mercs, I think it'd be better than mine. But I think without mercs, even in some of the scenario or some of the pools that you think it has okay matchups in, to a lot of the shooting list, they're still just going to play defensive against it and kill it, and they're just going to win on break or something.
How long are the rounds?
100 minutes.
Okay. What's interesting
100 minutes.
So when Vinny plays casual games at mine, the games last with Goblin Town 550, 500 points, whatever. They last like 3 hours, and he's still like in it. But when he goes to tournaments, I struggle to break him in that time, probably because we're playing really casually. But when he goes to tournaments, like the other week, he broke 2 times out of 4 games.
That doesn't surprise me.
If Vinny slow plays a lemon list, let's put it up there.
No, he does. That's the thing. He actually plays much quicker in a tournament.
Yeah, if he slow plays, lemon. But I mean, if you play like a sane human being because you're using 70 models, I mean,
if you're trying to make Goblin Town as good as possible, you just totally do slow play them.
What are you guys trying to say about Goblin Town, eh? What?
Oh, nothing.
It encourages
Goblin Town
questionable.
I genuinely think he fast plays in tournaments because he wants to not like provide a bad experience.
You feel like you have to. That's the
Yeah.
So my problem with Goblin Town is you basically have a trick. You have Gollum and the Goblin King. Cool. Yeah, Grinner can do some fancy shit, but that also sometimes means putting Grinner in a really awkward place. Again, terrain probably doesn't help them.
Mercs would.
Mercs absolutely would. But yeah,
if it had Mercs, it goes above mine, I think.
The Scribe just makes more points of goblins though compared to the Scribe.
Only if it passes the test.
Yeah, like again, I think from previous games, you're assuming that that's what the Scribe does all the time.
Potentially,
but the Mercs do their job the same
100% of the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
my tournament, I genuinely, if I was going and I knew the terrain, I would consider taking 10 or 12 Mercs.
Yeah.
Most tournaments I'd ballpark 6 because you don't know the terrain.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I think it sits just below Sam's.
Are we happy with it there?
Yeah.
Nervous, bottom of nervous. Okay. So we'll move on next to my list. Defenders. Helm's Deep. Where does it sit?
Shove my opinion out there. I'm going to go below Vince's.
I would personally say above Vince's.
It's 1-1. Adam?
I think in a direct matchup it beats Corsairs, but I don't think that's a good comparison. So I'd love to see what the boards are like, honestly. But the throwing weapons and the infinite might are pretty good, and he's fight 4, fight 5 everywhere. Remember, Haleth makes the Rohan fight 5 as well.
The Raw Guard.
Yeah. I think it's really good. I'd probably say actually top of nervous.
I think Sam's list is better than this.
I think the model count is slightly too low and you don't have a big hitter.
Whether it's going, I would personally take Sam's over mine.
I feel like
I think I'd take Goblin Town over yours as well.
It does mine just that little bit worse because you have less models and less good shooting. Like you still have no cap.
It's really good shooting, but
I would say the shooting is better, to be honest, because you'd have to stand still. And
strength 4 to strength 3
throwing weapons are also 8 inches instead of 6.
Yeah,
that's true.
You don't. Yeah. You just wouldn't throw weapons. You just shoot them. Like in a direct matchup with me, on
an open board. But in this tournament, Dewi said there's a lot of terrain, which makes crossbows slightly worse.
Yeah, but if you deploy them correctly, I'm not going to be a mole.
I think also the
we'll see.
The terrain helps me, I think, anchoring between terrain pieces with D6 5 in some matchups.
The ability you have is the fact you can march and throw everything
infinitely.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd probably put it about there. Well, you don't have it's a bit like the others that are around there. They've got kind of a thing they're good at.
Yeah.
But if that thing doesn't work, you're in a creek. It's the same for the next 2 lists as well. Kind of, I think Ash and Adams are a little bit less reliant on one thing.
So just to round off mine, can we get a raise of hands if we want it above Vince's?
Below Vince's.
Looks like it's going below. I thought more than one person said they wanted it above.
I initially did, but to be fair, I think we've done Vince a little bit dirty there.
Adam didn't put his hand up.
No, because I actually think all three of... I think
I'm sorry, it's about
5
telling me a
lists
ghost
are
story.
incredibly similar, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. They're all similar. They should all be in that middle category. It's just what order you put them in kind of depends on dice.
Yeah, and match up and scenario and board, like it's very
Yeah.
small margins.
I think, yeah.
I'll take the bottom spot. I'll take it. That's fine. But next up we have James's Mocha Rangers.
North Macedonia.
Ooh, he's only got 2 Sentinels, not 3.
No, again, it's matchup, board, scenario dependent. But does it do well against Ash and Adams?
Well, already 12-0 James in our practice. So what does that tell you?
Ash, don't even. Nah.
Literally nothing. You played that game horribly.
What was the score?
James probably shot like 100 shots and hit about 4 of them. So I mean, that's not how it works. Then
Classic James. Love it.
I think actually this list is better than Goblin Town, below Sam's.
Sam, would you fear playing it?
no, I would not.
I think now that the jury,
Even though in a
Odds.
favourable scenario, you only just won while winning all the roll-offs.
True
Yeah,
that.
that's only
True
because
that.
the game didn't end first turn or second turn or third turn.
Yeah. But
yeah.
had you not won all the 3 move-offs, I would have been on the objectives. Like, you got
welcome
pretty
to the dice
fortunate to
game.
actually
Don't-
end up on that one.
The
Yeah.
move-offs-
The
I know,
move-offs
but
don't
like
rely on
saying he's not
rolls.
scared of it seems a little unwise, considering he got lucky to actually win that game
I don't think
in
I
a
did.
favourable
The
matchup.
move-offs.
come on, James.
The move-offs for them weren't even for you to get onto objectives.
No, but it stops you throwing 20 throwing weapons at me.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah, but he can just charge one guy into 2 dudes every time if they're arbalesters and throw at that. Like,
yeah.
it's not.
Oh yeah, that did happen, but it didn't come off.
It did a few times. Did 2 or 3.
Yeah, it was like 2 times.
That's
So-
still
yeah.
Red Rangers dead.
So the fact that Sam's got 14 more models and all of those have throwing weapons that wound you on 4s.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 25% of the time he's probably killing one every.
So-
Like,
Do we think James outshoots Sam?
He does.
So you have to. I guess you've got the 4 points of March. Well, we played Capture and Control. Well, you two played Capture and Control, which is definitely a more favourable scenario than it is unfavourable for the Corsairs.
I don't think we should be thinking about too much about that matchup, though.
Yeah.
No, it's just a nice case
Yeah.
study, isn't it?
We're just looking at how Mercury Rangers might do over the 7 games.
I think Goblin Town would probably do better.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Whether Elliot's D6 would fare better, I don't know.
over 7 games. Yeah, I think it is in this bracket. Again, it's just where they're all pretty close.
They're all very similar. Like, yeah, it's literally what board are you playing, what board you on, what army you're against, what scenario is it in those matchups. If it goes like, I could go 6-0 because I've had lovely fucking thingies the whole way through, and James could go 2-4 because he's had dog shit all the way through. Yeah, but then James could do the opposite. It's just when stuff does go wrong, does that list have a little bit more it can use? And I think mine would have a little bit more just because of the model count. I don't. Would Vince's have more? But what goes wrong with Goblin Town? Like, you're not expecting to kill anything. You just walk up and win on objectives usually. So I don't really. I guess it is that. I guess we're a bit more consistent.
Yeah, Ash.
I like that point that you just made, Sam. When stuff goes wrong and you lose fights with Mirkwood Rangers, you lose 14-point models like like running through gold dust.
You totally do run through gold dust.
But when you lose with Goblin Town, when it goes bad with Goblin Town, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I am happy to put it below Goblin Town. I still think the low model count of Elliot's list and the lack of big hitters makes it the bottom of nervous. But I think that's Where
Does anyone have any objections to having it there?
No.
Yeah, that's right.
I think what's interesting about this is both Goblin Town and Rangers of Mirkwood objectively work better at these sorts of low points as compared to like 700 or 800 points, right?
Yeah.
And yet we're still putting them in nervous. I find
If
that
we had a
surprising.
veto system, do you think they'd be way higher?
Yes. Well, not way. They'd be higher. Yeah, but because they're a niche. They're an army that lean heavily into one niche thing. So any veto system is going to help that regardless. So, but I don't know how. They wouldn't be lemon, obviously, but it would definitely help.
Well, if we're happy with it where it is, we'll move on to the final list, which is Jay's Assault on Helm's Deep.
I just do think this is lemon.
Yeah.
First lemon list.
I think assault is just always lemon. It's just so oppressive. I guess we're factoring in heavily the fact that Dewi has told us there's going to be lots of terrain, but it's hard to quantify that.
Does that point make it go there?
But it's terrain, a lot of AOL, a Shadow Lord,
But are we comparing it to the fact that we know there's a lot of AOL and the fact that we know there's a lot of terrain, or are we just comparing it?
Well, yeah, because you're
In
comparing
general.
it within the tournament. Aren't you?
That's why would Martin James this would be better than Nervous if there's no terrain on the board, isn't it? You idiot.
Yeah.
Makes no
I
sense.
mean-
Of course you are.
Yeah, you idiot. He's right.
It's
Oh
literally-
no, me being an idiot.
You're comparing it when you go to this. What's going to do well in the event?
Yeah.
At this event, which you know there's going to be loads of terrain. You know which armies are there. You take everything into account. You know it's 7 games. So, do I think he might play an AOL? Do I think he might play a Shadow Lord? Do I think terrain might screw him?
That's one Shadow Lord out of 74, so the chances of that are pretty slim.
Yeah. So what? 8 esque blinding light things. Would scenario screw him and board potentially? May he roll bad for some of his ballistas in one game potentially?
I guess it's whether are we keeping it there top of silly nervous, or is it around a lemon mark for anyone?
No, stop silly nervous for me.
I think it's top for me as well. Adam, Dewi?
Putting all those things into perspective, is it as well rounded as Ash and Adam?
I was going to say that. Do I think over 7 games he's going to have a better time in all of them compared to Ash and Adams? When stuff goes wrong, what does he have?
He
If
played
someone-
7 games
if
into the West and won.
Yeah, but he literally said himself he got lucky. He'd never used that army before, and he sat at the map and just shot and then got
It
lucky.
shows how much of an
Yeah, there's
auto
also
win.
not a huge amount of terrain
Yeah,
there.
There wasn't the best terrain into the West, no.
So I think because of the terrain situation, I don't see this army going 7-0. I think at best it goes 6-1. It probably might go 5-1-1 because even something like a Contest of Champions, he's got no bomb.
Yeah.
So I think top of silly nervous just because of what's going on in this event with the terrain and yeah.
So
I do think it's a fair argument though that's been made about over the 7 games that Ash's and Adam's list could have an easier time overall and doesn't rely on the matchup as heavily.
So if he played against someone on a board of terrain and they had 12 bows and they could constantly move their bows and pick off his dudes and get out of line of sight of the ballistas, what does his army do?
Well, it's still Horde Urukai, really.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's only
Just
33,
marches at
it's
them.
only 33 models.
yeah, it's 30.
And a lot of those are
6
at the
and 1.
6 are at the ballistas.
6 are at the ballistas and they're all D5.
There's 26 models moving forward.
They're all
So
D5.
he plays
Well,
straight
or you
through
just
those.
ditch the ballistas.
Yeah, but that's it.
Well, if you know you're not going to get to use them, like, just say.
Everything comes along.
So if
Yeah.
if he plays a Lake Town army, he's got 26 models on the front line that are all D5. Lake Town will fight 4. Lake Town will have the same, if not more, bows that can move and shoot. which is huge because crossbows get screwed by that a lot. Yeah.
For the specific Lake Town example, I mean, I'd be surprised if the master hasn't been flung backwards, at least by one ballista.
You stick him behind terrain.
And then
he comes out when needed. And at that point, you're probably hitting your own guys because you're having the ways.
Yeah, I guess if it's not green, the master's ability only becomes 6 inches, which isn't that good.
Well,
it's going to have to be close to the front line.
If there's more terrain, it becomes better, surely, because the battle line's not as big.
Yeah, it definitely does. If there's more terrain, it becomes better. But then it's very situational, isn't it? It's difficult.
I just can't wait. I can't wait to see how much terrain there is because I've seen the photos. It looks really cool.
Adam's going to come in with a scolding review of
this could blow my mind.
It's only going to get better for future events, I can tell you that much.
Sheesh.
So out of the 37 boards, I'm supplying 20 of them. And I have another 30 plus board ideas, all Middle-earth themed.
Love to see it. Where are you sourcing the rest of the boards out of interest? Is that from Big?
I am
West, I hope.
I'm getting a few from Mr. Clubley and Mr. Hawkins. I'm getting a few from Mark Kempster, and I'm getting a few from Tom Patterson.
Nice.
All of them will have plenty of terrain. All of them will be Middle-earth themed as much as possible.
One way or another. Nice.
So
are we happy with leaving Jay's list at the top of Silly Nervous, everyone? Any objections to that?
I'd put it below Adam and Ashes.
Okay, so Dewi wants it below.
I see an argument for both.
Yeah.
I think it's going to have to be a vote. I would personally vote it above mine and Adam's.
But not in Lemon. Okay.
I think it goes above because of the major minor triple scoring thing as well. Because your guys' lists don't really win big, whereas when Assault wins, it does tend to win big.
I think their lists can win big.
They don't tend to, though. Having played against these lists an awful lot.
James, you got 12-0 the last game we played. What does that
It means
tell
nothing. It literally means nothing.
He hit 4 times. I vote above. So we have 3 for above. Do we have anyone else voting above?
I vote
Yeah,
above.
it's totally above.
Okay, well, then it's totally above. It's 4-2-2. Okay. So any closing comments on the tier list from anyone? No?
Just really excited to play at Dewi's tournament. Thank you for coming on, Dewi.
That's
And
the
the
event.
stats.
Boys.
Thank you for coming on, Dewi. Yeah, and for the stats as well. Yeah.
The stat PowerPoint was very good. I hope it goes on the GBHL.
Yeah, it's all going to go up tonight.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Good stuff. Okay, well, that is going to close out the preview episode for the Guardians Call to the Shire event. We'll all be going by the time this goes up. It will be this weekend, and we may have a review episode coming out for this event afterwards. We'll see how we all get on. But thank you, everyone, for watching episode 12 of the Gollum's Gamers podcast.